Although most of us are aware that there are negative thoughts that run through our head, many of us don't realize just how much negative thinking goes on automatically and how it really impacts our lives. Today, I'm going to show you how to control negative thinking so you can see a big change in your life. Coming up. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, the simple way to self-realization. So if you want total control of your mind and more happiness and abundance in your life, then you've come to the right place. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. You're going to love what we show you, primarily because it is 100% experiential, meaning you have to believe what I say, but you could take it for checking and prove it to yourself. And if you're a regular here, you love the work that we do, it makes a big difference in your life, then let us know. Hit the like button below and share this video with your friends. And also share your experiences, share your gains in the comments below. Or any questions that you have, drop those in the comments and I'll jump in whenever I can and answer those for you. Now, yesterday, I went to the gym, and it had been a while since I'd been to the gym because my dad was just visiting us here in Amsterdam. So we've been running around doing stuff with him, and I've been preparing for the retreat that we're doing next week in Romania. And also, we just recently started a new 6-week course called the Wealth Manifestation course. So there's been a lot going on. I've been running around and really hadn't had time to go to the gym. So yesterday, I saw that, I got some free time. Let's go. And normally, when I go to the gym, I always keep track of everything that I do. I always log down all my exercises. So then when I go back and I do those particular exercises again, I see what I did last time and I set a goal. I'm going to go harder this time. So I'm going to do a few more reps of each exercise, or if it's appropriate, bump up the weight. And, that's the way I progress as I go and I work out. Now, since it had been a while since I'd gone, and also I rotate and I do different exercises. One day I do chest and triceps, another day I do back and biceps, another day I do legs, and I alternate through these. And this particular day, I'm looking at, this is a back and bicep day. And since it had been a while since I'd gone, and because I rotate, I couldn't really remember the last time I did back and biceps. It'd been a while. So instead of having this attitude of, I'm just going to go harder on everything, I'm taking a different approach. I'm going, let's just see how we do. It's been a while, and if I do better than I did on certain exercises, great. If I don't do as well, that's great. I'm just going to see how I do and then continue going harder next time. So I go through, I start working on exercises. Some I do pretty good. I do a few more reps than I did before. Some of them I do a few less than I did before. But that's okay. But I get to a particular set of exercises that even when I'm in full swing and I'm, on schedule and, I'm got a lot of momentum going to the gym, every time I go and I do these exercises, I always have to psych myself up because primarily one of these exercises, I do 2 of them together. I do hammer curls. So I have dumbbells and, like this, I curl them straight up. And I alternate that with doing leaned over lateral raises. So I'm leaned forward and I'm doing this with another set of dumbbells that works my rear delts. So I flip back and forth. So I do curls, lateral raises, curls and lateral raises. I do 4 sets of each. And here's the thing. The curls that I do, the dumbbells that I've worked up to, they're pretty big. I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything. But the thing is that when I walk in and I look at those dumbbells that I'm going to do the curls with, I'm always like, can I lift that? Those look too big. I'm not sure if I could do that, even though I've been working on them for a while now. So these dumbbells, they weigh 18 kilos or about 40 pounds. So, they look pretty intimidating. And they're heavy enough that in order to successfully do 4 sets and go harder, I really have to focus. I have to get nice and clear and come from a real positive state of mind, a state of, I can do this, I got this. Because if I don't, if I'm doubting myself or anything like that, I'm not going to get through that exercise. I'm going to run out of gas well in advance, or I'm going to struggle with it, getting those big dumbbells up. So always when I go and I approach these sets of exercises, I really have to get focused and get into that positive state of mind. So anyway, I'm setting up to do this exercise, and I'm setting up the workbench. And the way I do it is, first, I lift the back of the bench up straight, like this, so that I'm sitting up straight and I'm doing the hammer curls. And then I drop it back like 60 degrees, so that I flip around, I put my chest against the bench, and that's how I'm leaning forward, and I do my lateral raises. Now, when I'm like that, leaning on the bench, leaning forward, my arms aren't long enough to reach down to the ground to grab the weights. So if I want to have them handy, what I do is I set up one of those aerobic steppers that has like the little blocks so you can stack it up and adjust the height. And I set up a little platform right in front of me where I put the dumbbells for my lateral raises. And those are just like 9 kilos that I do that with. So I set those down on this platform and I get everything all set up. So I have the bench upright. I'm sitting there. I got the big dumbbells, the 18 kilos right there. And I'm just getting nice and focused to get ready to do the exercise. Now, as I'm sitting there getting focused, all of a sudden, right behind me, I hear, bam, bam. Now, if you aren't familiar with Dutch architecture, all the buildings here have a bit of lean to them. It's just the nature of having a sandy sort of foundation in the whole country. So even more modern buildings, like the gym that I go to, it's not completely straight everywhere. And when I set up that platform, there's just enough lean in there, even though I set them down and they're nice and steady. If I'm not paying attention, then they start rolling down and they roll off the end of that little platform that I set up. And then they crash down on the hardwood floor and just make this tremendous noise. So it kind of jarred me. I heard that bam, bam. And I look, I was like, oh, shoot. All right, they rolled off. So I go chase them down, put them back on the platform. Okay, right, they're nice and steady. I sit back down, and then I focus again. And as I'm sitting there, bam, bam, again. And I look back, damn. All right, pick them up, put them back a second time. Sit back down. And again, bam, bam. And I grab them. This time now, my ego is activated. It's just there, rah, rah, rah. Oh, stupid Dutch foundations and so on. So I put them down. I kind of put them at an angle and put them so that they have some friction so they won't roll. I was like, all right, stay there. And I go back and I sit down yet again to prepare to do the curls. But at this point, my ego is just going crazy. It's just sitting there complaining about the noise, the distraction. And I realized, look, if my mind is sitting here complaining, that those dumbbells aren't obeying me, they're not doing what I want them to do, and how dare them, as long as that noise is running in my head, I'm not going to be focused. I'm not going to be in a positive mindset, and I'm going to struggle doing these curls with these big old weights. So, fortunately, I just caught it right there on the spot and just dropped that negative thinking and just got nice and clear and picked up those weights and had a positive, very strong sense of courageousness, a sense of I got this. And I did it. And I did 11 reps 4 times easily. So I did well above and beyond what I did last time, even though I wasn't so sure I'd be able to do it for this particular exercise. I crushed it. Now, here's the thing. When I said that, okay, I caught the negative thinking and I dropped it on the spot, that's not to say, oh, look at me. Look at what a great releaser I am. But it's to prove a point, first of all, that releasing is a skill. This is something that I've been stressing again and again. It's a skill. The more you practice it, the better you get. And if you want to get better, you got to practice it. It can't just be a part-time thing. It's got to be something that you do regularly, you're serious about. That's why in Lester's 6 steps, there's a whole step there that very simply says, make releasing constant. There's a reason for that. It's because it's a skill. And again, when you get good at it, you're a good releaser, and when these negative thoughts come up, you can catch them and not struggle with them. You can just drop them right away. Now, also, another thing to note about this is that when it comes to if you have negative thoughts running in your mind versus when your mind is quiet of those negative thoughts, there's a measurable difference in the results. And it's an activity like this. This is why I'm sharing this particular story about the gym, is that this is something that's measurable. If my mind was in a negative, complaining state of mind, I would not have gotten through the exercise. And even if I did, it wouldn't have been easy. But when I got the negative thoughts out of the way, it was easy, and I crushed it. And a lot of us, we could recognize there are certain activities that we do that we know we're in a bad state of mind, we really suck at them. Versus when we're in a positive state of mind, we do well. So it is measurable. And the more we look, the more we can see that the more we release, the results and the improvement in our life is measurable. It's provable. We could see it firsthand. And the other point I want to make about this is that this sort of mental complaining often goes underneath the radar. It's so common and we're so used to it that we don't realize how prevalent it is and how much we are holding back our results, and we're really stunting ourselves so much because of so much negative complaining that it happens automatically. We're not even aware of it half the time, and it's really messing up our lives in a big way, and we don't even realize it. But one thing that I point out often in these videos here is that a lot of times we don't just stop and examine the mind. We just take it for granted. Like there's this voice that talks to me. It's always there, always giving me advice, always being there as a companion, keeping me company, keeping me entertained, and all that stuff. So we treat this voice in our mind like it's our best friend. But oftentimes we don't stop and examine it and realize that every once in a while it says a nice thing, but more than 90% of the time, at the very least, it's a very negative thing when we just sit and listen to what it's really telling us. It's got a lot of complaining. It's got a lot of judging, a lot of dissatisfaction. It tells us to beat ourselves up all the time, right? When we don't get our way or when we make a mistake, it jumps right in and tells us to disapprove of ourselves. And it's always focused on worrying and negative things rather than positive things. And it's obvious when we just stop and look at it. So it makes us wonder, well, why do I need to listen to that thing? And where did that voice come from? Who does it belong to? And who's it talking to? A lot of times we identify with the voice so much that we think it's just me talking to myself. But wait, there's this voice, a sound in our head. It's talking to us. Who? Who's it talking to? And see, rarely do we pay attention to that aspect, the silent presence that mind is talking to, and realizing there's us, and then there's this sound that we're listening to. And that sound, it doesn't have any intelligence. All it is just a recording and playback machine. Everything that it tells us is just information that we put in there. Like us, if we are a computer programmer, we program the mind the same way, right? The mind works just like a computer. So all the information that we put into it, if we're a programmer and we put a bunch of bad information to the computer isn't going to really work very well. But we did it. We put all that information in there, and all it is just a recording and playback machine. It just plays it back to us, whatever we put into it, whether we want to listen to it or not. So what would happen if we cleaned up all that information? And do we even need any information that's in that mind, even the so-called good information, useful information that we rely upon our mind for? And to that end, I want to point out another area of my life that I've seen a huge measurable improvement when I control my negative thinking. And that's when I sit down in front of the computer to trade in the futures markets. Because if I show up with fear and doubt, I'm not going to trade very well. I need to clear my mind of all that negative thinking, let go of all my fears about fears of losing, all that stuff, so that I'm clear and I make better decisions when I trade. But here's the thing. When it comes to trading, it's not just the negative thinking that I have to get quiet in order to be really clear and effective. It's all of my thinking. Because in the realm of trading, there's so much data and information to process that you can get, number one, you can get stuck in analysis paralysis. So much information, you don't know what to do. And so if you're relying on your mind and you're looking at the chart, your mind's going to jump in. It's, well, this last time this happened, and you better beware of this, and if you see this and that happens, and if you listen to all that stuff, it's really easy to get confused and just overloaded with information. So the best thing to do is just quiet all of that stuff. And here's what it's like, because we think that we need the information, but it's often in the moments of presence that we really perform. It's kind of like, if you've seen that movie, The Legend of Bagger Vance, there's a scene in that movie. It's a scene about golfing, but really it's a movie about golfing, but really it's a movie about Lester. Will Smith plays in the movie, and in that movie, he plays Lester. He plays a spiritual master. And there's a scene in that movie where the protagonist, the struggling hero of the movie, is trying to get his golf game back, and he's having a hard time with it. And in the scene, they're in a tournament, and he's with some of the best players in the world, Bobby Jones and Walter Hagen. And in the scene, Bagger Vance, Will Smith, points out that what makes Bobby Jones such a brilliant player is his ability to just clear his mind.
Fix your eyes on Bobby Jones. And he got a lot of shots he could choose from. Duffs and tops and skulls. But there's only one shot that's in perfect harmony with the field. One shot that's his. Authentic shot. And that shot is going to choose him. There's a perfect shot out there trying to find each and every one of us. All we got to do is get ourselves out of its way. Let it choose us.
And you also see this in basketball. So a player goes up to the rim and they get fouled. And so they go to the free throw line. And when they sit there at the free throw line, you just watch them and watch what they do. Just like Bobby Jones, they just get nice and clear. You'll just see them dribble. They stop, they look at the basket, they dribble again. And you see they're just getting themselves nice and settled, nice and quiet. Because if they're standing there at the free throw line and then they're thinking about, oh, that a-hole who just elbowed me in the mouth that got me to the penalty line here, what a jerk, and I hate him. They start complaining about that other player that fouled them. They're going to probably miss their shots, right? So they have to get all that complaining, all that negative thinking out of the way. Just get nice and quiet. So they dribble, and once they're ready, they take the shot, right? So let me show you how you can do that now, just to get nice and quiet and get into that zone, right, that these professional athletes get to. And it's really easy. Like I said, what we do here is experiential, so I'm going to show you. So think about something that frustrates you in your life right now. Something that you're frustrated about. Got something in mind? Now, as you're thinking about this thing that frustrates you, remember what I said. The mind, from the neck up, all it is just a recording and playback machine. All it does is just records things, most of it negative, and then it plays it back to you whether you want to listen to it or not. But from the neck up, it doesn't have an erase button. But where you do have an erase button is from the neck down, in this area, in your stomach or chest. This is your feeling center here. And this is where you could just easily release, right on the spot. Even in the heat of the moment. No matter, if someone's in your face yelling at you, like I said, releasing is a skill. So the more skillful you are, someone could be right in your face. And instead of getting frustrated or overwhelmed in that situation, you can just release right on the moment, right here from your feeling center. All right, so check this out. Again, think about that thing that frustrates you in your life right now. Maybe you got a problem that you're trying to resolve and you haven't been able to resolve it. Now, as you're thinking about this thing, close your eyes. And you can even put your head down towards your stomach or chest. This way you really focus on what you're experiencing right here in your stomach or chest. And with your eyes closed and your head down, just notice when you think about this thing that frustrates you, if you feel a contraction, a tightness right now in your stomach or chest, just notice. Feel that difference? It's kind of like a clenching feeling. And all that is your body letting you know that you're pushing down on that frustration. And to the mind, see, this thing isn't very intelligent. It thinks that, well, the right thing to do is, that's an undesirable feeling. Let's get it out of here. Let's push it away. I don't want this right now. But see, when you push down on that frustration, right, that feeling of, you don't like it, and you're like, get it out of here. I don't want to deal with you right now. You're not pushing it away. You're actually pushing it down and you're collecting it. And this is why you see, as you've gone through life, certain things, you just seem to get heavier and heavier, more and more frustrated, more and more boxed in. The older that you get, the more you go through life. And that's because of this habit of pushing down the feelings. And so since that doesn't work, right, if you push down the frustration doesn't go anywhere. All right, so since that doesn't work, let's try something different. So just notice where that contraction is. Just feel it, that contraction in your stomach or chest right now. And wherever it is, it might be up here, high up at the top of your sternum, or it might be down in your solar plexus, wherever. wherever you feel that clenching feeling. Open up an imaginary window or door right in front of that feeling. And imagine that contraction is just energy, just like a ball of energy there. And imagine that energy going right on out that door or window. Just watch it leave. Imagine it leaving out that door. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. You could see it as smoke or bubbles or water flowing out, whatever it looks like to you. Just imagine that energy going out the door. And let that energy go out the door a little bit more. And a little bit more. And some more. And even more. And let some more of that energy go. Just invite it up. It wants to leave. It really does. That's why it feels like so much pressure. Like if something shocks us and gets us frustrated, right away we feel that feeling like, ugh. And it's because that feeling that's been buried inside of us, it got triggered, and it's come out to leave. It's like, I don't belong here. You've been holding me down. I want out. And that's why we feel it come up, and we don't like it, and we push it down even more. And it's almost, in many cases, it's like trying to push a beach ball underneath the water. It's a real struggle. But it wants to leave. That beach ball wants to just jump up and fly out of the water. So all you have to do is just open up that door and let the energy go. And let it go some more. You don't have to do anything. Just get out of the way. And let it go out the door even more. And some more. And even more. Now notice how you feel. Just notice if you feel a little bit lighter. Not so clenched up and contracted, but just more open, spacious. Basically just a lighter feeling. That's all we're looking for. And that right there shows you that you have another alternative. You don't have to fight with your feelings anymore. You don't have to push them down and try to sweep them under the rug and pretend that they're not there. You can just let them go right there. And when you let them go, they're gone. Now, there might be more frustration that comes up, but it's something that's there. And that's why Lester said, make releasing constant. Because either you're releasing or you're suppressing. And either you're discriminating and you catch that negative thinking, or you're on automatic. And you're just letting your mind run the show and push you around. And half the time not even realizing. But the more you practice making releasing constant, the easier it is to catch it and just let it go. Without any drama, without any fuss, and it takes no time. You can just let it go immediately and just have a quiet mind. And that's all you're shooting for. A quiet mind. You don't need to put any positive thoughts in there. You don't need to program yourself to think better. You're naturally positive already. And all you have to do is just get rid of the negativity. And what shows up in its place is full of abundance, full of a sense of I can, full of certainty, full of knowingness. And essentially, what shows up is the real master, who you really are, and not that ego mind that you've been listening to. And speaking of that mind, real quick, another thing that you can do just to get those negative thoughts nice and quiet very easily is when your mind starts talking to you. And sometimes it feels like it just won't shut up. But when it talks to you, if you don't engage it, and what I mean by that is you don't resist it, you don't try to make it wrong or try to come up with a better answer. You just listen to what it says. And here's the thing. Just listen to it and say, I love you. That's it. I love you. So you're not taking it seriously. You're not engaging with it. You're not resisting it. You're just like, yeah, I love you. So, for example, that thing that frustrates you, your mind probably complains about it. I hate this situation. I love you. I got to find an answer. This is intolerable. I love you. But I'm so frustrated. I can't resolve it. I can't find a solution. I love you. And I hate this. I need things to be different. I love you. So just practice that. Whatever your mind says to you, right? Don't take it seriously. Don't place any value in whatever it says to you. Just whatever it says, just say, I love you. I love you. I love you, mind. Whatever you say, I love you. I love you unconditionally. Practice that and watch what happens. But the main point is you got to examine that thinking. That's what Lester said all the time. Examine your thinking and correct it. Basically, release it. Because when you do that, you get rid of all your concepts of limitation. You get rid of all your I can'ts. You get rid of all your unhappiness. You get to the place where you have abundance all the time, and you get to the place where it is impossible to be unhappy. Imagine that. Now, you can do it, but you gotta really take releasing seriously. And that's why we do these regular 6-week courses. And you can still jump into the Wealth Manifestation course. I'll leave the link to it down below. Everything's all recorded in there, and it'll be there for you in your members area indefinitely. So it's always a good time to get started and jump in and really build up your momentum and releasing. And when you do that, you'll be astounded because it really takes no time to go all the way and be completely realized. Lester said, how long does it take to do a 2-week job? Well, prove it to yourself. So, happy releasing, and I'll catch you on the next video.